Hey guys, Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. I am in Brighton in the United Kingdom. Missed yesterday, had a very, very long travel day. I actually flew from Tokyo to San Francisco to London and then took a train to Brighton. Um, very, very random routing and very long day. Um, Quick topic today. So I was able to work a little bit on the flight. It was mostly about organizing the topics for this that I want to sort of start to document. I might write around them, and that will give some structure to how I make these videos and keep you guys updated. But the first thing, what I want to touch on today is Illustrator. So the backstory of the illustration process is when I first came up with this idea in 2016. I started writing and I quickly gave up because I didn't know how I would have a path to illustrating. Wasn't thinking very creatively, and I'm terrible at drawing. So the idea kind of sat on the back burner for years, but it never really went away. And so about 2 years ago, I happened to be at work in Japan. For some reason, I mentioned this, the left shoe, to a coworker, and he told me that his sister is an illustrator. Her name's Ember. So I went to meet him and his sister in Yokohama, Japan, near Tokyo. Told them about the story, and his sister loved it. So I think it was the same day she sketched the left shoe, which is the image that you've seen, and I fell in love. It sort of, at that point, it all became real, and my brain started exploding, and I just felt, I have a path to doing this now. I can make this happen. I see a way forward, and it just made everything kind of come to life. So we were working together most of 2022 for the time I was spending on the book, and eventually we stopped. It was a little bit of sort of, I don't know, creative differences. A little bit about, she kind of fell maybe out of some love with the character, and 2 years later, I can say that a lot of her feedback, I think, is correct. She wanted to, she felt like the left shoe character was a bit selfish and it shouldn't be all about him, which is funny because now I'm actually trying to build out the other characters and give them each a chance to shine, to give a little more depth to the story. Anyways, Ember seemed not interested and I wasn't sure what to do. And one thing I didn't want to do was just hire an illustrator. The reason for that is a few reasons. It's not just being cheap or cost effective. It was more about, firstly, you can't approach writing a kid's book expecting you're going to make a ton of money. And in this case, my story is very, very long. So if I knew it's going to be a series, that's going to be a lot of illustrations. And that's a huge commitment financially for something where I have no idea if I'm even going to make $1. So there was the financial element, but more importantly, with the illustrations that Ember made, I felt there was real soul there. There was a connectedness in our story, and I thought that you wouldn't get that with just someone who was sort of hired to just crank out some illustrations. So I wanted some sort of equity situation, almost like a startup where you could have a bit of an equity partnership where it's you just agree to share the labor, share the work, share the effort, and then share the profits, whatever does come. So I was looking online far and wide, and I ended up finding a Japanese background illustrator who's based in the UK. Her name is Miho, and she had a nice portfolio. She had written a kid's book, and she was interested. So I reached out to several and then talked to a few, and then she was the one who seemed most engaged and most interested. So we worked out an arrangement, and then we were going to sort of work together. Now, since then, I haven't had much chance to progress on the story. So we're in a bit of a holding pattern. We do touch base every couple weeks and just kind of check in. But the reason that I wanted to raise this today is, how's this for irony in a life full of irony? We've been communicating probably, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months. And I've been in Tokyo, she's been in London. I've tried to come to London a few times and I wasn't able to make it. And finally, now I was able to come to the UK. I was able to work it out with the work schedule and all that. And the same day that I was going to leave, I'm messaging her. I sent her an email and said, "Are you available to meet? Maybe we could meet in London." And she said, "When are you going to be back in Japan?" Turns out the very same day I'm going to London, she's coming with her mom to Japan. What are the odds? So kind of like two ships passing in the night. In any case, it's okay. She's going to be there a while. She'll be working a bit in Japan, and so we will be able to meet when I get back. But that's just a funny irony. I was expecting maybe over this weekend we would meet and talk about the story, but that will now happen a few weeks later back in Tokyo. So that's a little bit of background on the illustration process. I'm going to look forward to meeting Miho and seeing how we connect in person in terms of like a creative connection. And until then, until I get back, my focus for the next week and a half, I'll be in UK and also Amsterdam. When I am working on the story, it's going to hopefully be pure creative. So I'm going to be working on writing and trying to just make a lot of progress with the book one. So I have to get in that creative state. That's the update, day one in the UK. And I will try to post another one tomorrow. Have a good one.